day and night. I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind.
Hey guys, Victor here with yet another brand new video, and yet again I want to talk about the aftermath of UFC 249. And yes, that card was one of the best I'd ever seen in my whole entire life, and mostly during my time watching UFC. I've been watching UFC since my sophomore year of high school, and I've never seen the main card or prelims stacked to the point in my whole entire time watching UFC, and it did not disappoint. I bought the main card for $64.99, $68 with the taxes, but it was all worth it at the end of the day. Now, the fight I want to talk about, one of the fights that was on that jam-packed main card, Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Kattar. And if we know these guys, they both like to bang. They like to use their fists instead of using their legs that much, and they like to knock guys out. Now, during the first round, Jeremy Stephens came out like a bat out of hell, man. The guy came out of nowhere and he started swinging. He started hitting Kattar with some really good shots, and he started really chopping at the bits, chomping at his legs. A couple years back, Jeremy Stephens ended up facing Gilbert Melendez, and a lot of people thought that it was going to be a war, but Stephens ended up chopping his legs up a lot to the point where Gilbert Melendez couldn't even stand on one of his legs, and that he was trying to use that same tactic against Calvin Kattar, and it was working a lot in the first round. He did have a lot of a success with it to the point where Calvin Kattar had to switch stance. Now, the thing with Calvin Kattar and why he's so dangerous right now is because he has some really good boxing and he has some really good footwork. And he was using that too against Jeremy, and he was definitely using good movement against Jeremy because Jeremy was really pressuring him a lot. And as soon as Jeremy got him against the fence of the cage, he was swinging, he was teeing off. But Calvin even came back a little bit and threw some really good combinations. If we all, a lot of people know Calvin as a slow starter. He likes to use that first round as a feel-out round. If we all know Jeremy, he doesn't really give a damn about any of that. The guy usually comes out swinging. He had a really good warm-up. The guy was already sweating as soon as he got to the octagon, and he was just throwing some really good shots at Kattar and really chomping out those leg kicks. But as soon as before the end of that first round, Kattar started getting a second win, and he started throwing down some really good combinations, and he really started clipping Jeremy in the side of his face with some of those combos and those hooks. Then during the start of the second round, that's where things really started to heat up. Both fighters really started to exchange a little bit more, and Kattar started throwing leg kicks at Jeremy Stephens to the point where Jeremy Stephens was having trouble putting weight on that lead leg, to the point where he ended up having to switch stances as well. And during one of those exchanges in the second round, the thing is, when you get into those exchanges, you always leave yourself open no matter what, because both of your hands are busy. If you're trying to throw two hooks, or if you're trying to throw a 1-2, your hands are away from your face, your hands are away from your body, exposing your face and your body at the same time. And that's where Kattar really utilized that advantage. He ended up having a brief exchange with Jeremy Stephens where he sneaked in a horizontal elbow. He hit him straight on his cheek, straight on the upper part of the cheek right there. And it really cut open Jeremy, but that knocked him down. And then as soon as Jeremy was knocked down, Kattar got right on top of him, and he finished the fight via ground and pound. Now, a lot of people don't really see Jeremy Stephens get knocked out. The last time that Jeremy was knocked out, it was against Jose Aldo in Canada, where Aldo hit him with a really hard body shot, and that was because both fighters got in exchange, just like what happened yesterday. Aldo found that opening, Jeremy was exposed, and he hit him really hard in the body, which caused Jeremy to collapse, and Aldo to jump on top of him and beat him by TKO via ground and pound. The same scenario literally just happened yesterday. Both fighters got an exchange. Jeremy wasn't... he was a little bit careless during that exchange, and he left himself open for that elbow that really split him open. After the fight ended, you can see that the blood was pouring and out of Jeremy Stephens' nose. It was also leaking out of that huge gash that he had on top of his cheek, and that's insane. It really is. And Jeremy had a lot of things going on before. He had a bad weight cut. He weighed in at 150 pounds. He also lost 30% of his purse to Calvin Kattar. So Jeremy had a lot going on before the fight, which is why I wasn't surprised that he was trying to knock Calvin Kattar out. You know, he was trying to get a performance in the night to try to make up for the money that he had lost by losing weight. But Calvin's a different type of fighter. He joined the UFC about 2 years ago, I believe. His MMA debut, his UFC debut was against Andre Fili, and he's just been doing really good ever since. He's only lost to two guys in the UFC, Zabit Magnusharipov and Renato Moicano, and those are two really good guys in the featherweight division, really two great mixed martial artists as well. So those are quality losses. Bad losses would be when you obviously get dominated, but by guys that weren't even on the same level as you. But Kattar wasn't losing badly in any of those two fights, and those were against two really high level opponents. I think the Moicano fight might have been a little bit too early for him because I think that was his third fight in the UFC, and his previous last two opponents were unranked. But he was able to make up for it and get a couple other wins, and now with this win against Jeremy Stephens, I believe he's going to be in the top five and possibly face a top five opponent in the very near future. So I gotta give big ups to Calvin Kattar, the New England Cartel, definitely building up a really great team in Boston of really good MMA fighters. And can't wait to see what Calvin does in the future. I don't know where Jeremy Stephens is going to go from here. I believe this was his fourth straight loss, which isn't really looking too good for him. But the only reason why he's still in the UFC right now is because he's an entertainer. He always goes out there and he always puts on a fight. He always has bad intentions of trying to knock you out cold. And that's one of the things I like about Jeremy Stephens, but he's been having a lot of issues with his weight lately, so I'd really like to see him move up a weight class just so he isn't putting that much punishment on his body anymore. Jeremy's been in the UFC for a long time. He has 33 fights with the organization. He started out in the early 2000s, and he made his UFC debut on his 21st birthday. And I believe he's 30-something right now. I don't know his exact age, but he's been with the company for a very long time. So he has a lot of loyalty towards the UFC and Dana White. But if I were Jeremy, I'd face probably another opponent, maybe outside the top 10. So I guess those last five ranked opponents, 10 through 15, maybe someone in that category right there. Get him a couple of wins and maybe try to fight someone else in the top five again in the future. But like I said, if I were him, I'd just go up to lightweight. He used to fight at lightweight and move down the heavyweight. But I believe if he did move up to lightweight, then his power is obviously going to transition to that weight class and maybe even help him out at the same time. But, I'm not his manager. I'm not his coach, so I can't make that decision for him. The only one that can really make that life-changing decision, that career-changing decision, is Jeremy Stephens himself. But I just wanted to talk about this fight. It was a really good one. It's definitely one of the fights I had circled on that whole entire fight card just because I knew it was going to be an entertainment one, and I knew someone was going to sleep. That fight wasn't going to go to a decision just because of both those styles that both those fighters carry within them. But I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I got a couple more that I want to talk about for the UFC 249 card. There's still that kill main event that happened yesterday, and that fight that Francis Ngannou had against Rosina Rosenstrike that barely really lasted anything at all. But I'll talk about those fights in my next couple of videos. I appreciate you guys for watching. Stay safe, and I hope you guys enjoy your day. I know things are still bad out there with the coronavirus, but we're going to get through it no matter what, just like how the UFC has gone through this, and we're going to make it out okay. So stay blessed, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.